Hello! In our last episode, we looked at lifestyle-related diseases, and we saw that these were referred to as diseases of the elderly. But this is no longer the case now. They affect everybody across the age cohorts. So join us in our journey as we try to answer the question, why now? Today, we look at physical exercise or physical activity and see how it could have contributed to a reduction of lifestyle-related diseases among the younger generation so that these were felt among the elderly. If you are new on this channel, kindly consider subscribing. Let me take you down memory lane as we try to recall what happened or how was physical exercise and physical activity carried out or included in activities of daily living. Though it was never looked at in terms of health, but physical exercise was practiced throughout. If you look at the way activities of daily living were conducted, it was exercise through and through. It was actually a discipline. It was a way of life. I'll begin with when a child was called. If an elderly person or a parent called a child, the child had to come running. And if that did not happen, then there was a form of punishment, or the child was given a warning. Because when an elderly person calls you, you must run to find out what are you being called for. When a child was sent, whether it was to the market or to a shop or to a neighbor or the kitchen rack, just to get maybe a cup or something, a utensil, they have been sent for something, they just had to run, because that was a thing of that time. I remember when a visitor came to the home and he was spotted just entering the home. A child would be sent to run and welcome the visitor. If they had a bicycle, they would be assisted to come with the bicycle until the house. If the person had some luggage, they would be assisted to carry the luggage. So the children, and not even the children, even the elderly people, they had to stand up to welcome the visitor. So this was movement through and through. Gardening or farming was a daily activity, and it was conducted, or everybody participated, whether they were young or old, male or female. Farming, right from preparation of the land, to planting, to weeding, to harvesting, even to preparation, was all manual, and every member of the family participated. Think about a life without a machine. I know some of you cannot imagine a life without machines, but just think about it. There was maize that had been harvested from the farm. There was wheat that had also been harvested from the farm, and it had to be converted into maize flour or wheat flour. How would that be done? So it was manually done. The wheat was done with 2 stones, and they just pressed against the 2 stones and formed flour, while the maize was taken to something they called a reko, something that had to be grinded. It was grinding through and through until you're able to get some flour. If it was groundnuts, it was put in something like a mortar, and it was pounded until you got some form of flour, and it was made into a thick groundnut paste and used as a stew. So you can see all this is manual, and some physical activity is involved. When I look at games, how games were conducted, children mainly did their games outside. It was an outdoor activity. They made most of their toys from maybe clay or even maize stalks. I remember one particular one which was made from maize stalks. It was just 2 maize stalks that were small ones made in this direction. Then in between there was a stick put, and the child would hold it like this as it turned round towards the direction of the wind. So it made a very big sound as if it was a propeller. So children's activities or games were basically running or walking very fast. The next activity I can think about is grazing. This was mainly a male activity where the young men or even the older men would take their animals to graze. And this would be done for distances. They would wake up in the morning after breakfast, then they carry some water and they go with the animals, move towards where the grass was, and coming back was in the evening. So this was a lot of activity. So there were no cars, there were no motorbikes, there were bicycles, but for the chosen few, and mainly it was for the teacher. So walking was the order of the day. When you're going anywhere, it was walking. It was not only work all the time, but in the evenings for some communities, there were communal sports or communal games. For example, among the Maasai, they would jump and be taught, the youth, they would be taught things to do with the community values. The Morans, those ones who are just about to be circumcised, they would be taught as they jump, and they would be awarded according to the person who jumps the highest. So this was a common practice in most of the communities. In my community, which is the Luya, we were taught songs, African traditional songs, and I tell you, they were very vigorous. You had to bend, that back had to bend very low. And you see, in the process, that was exercising, physical exercise. Matching the legs and the arms, it was fun, it was exercise, and nobody even thought about it as a health issue. But it was something that everybody participated because the songs were interesting, they had a message in it, and it was also a lesson for the different age cohorts. Water was mainly in wells. There were very few homes that had boreholes, but mainly from the wells or the ponds, which were mainly communal. So for some families it was close, for others it was a distance. But generally, to get both drinking water and water for general use, someone had to go and fetch the water. So that involved a lot of walking. And children, especially students, had to get the water in the evening so that they leave some water for their moms to use it while they're in school. Or if they didn't do that in the evening, it was a routine. They had to wake up in the morning and go get the water from the well for use in the home, while the boys had to ensure that there's enough water for the animals before they take off to go and graze. Pregnant, lactating, children, youth, adults, nobody was excluded from physical activity because it had been inculcated into activities of daily living. So even when people went to the farms, you'd find a pregnant woman is also digging. A lactating mother would carry her baby and dig or weed and move with the baby as she progresses with the work that she is doing. So when we look at it critically, physical exercise or physical activity in the olden days was done quite a lot. And probably that is what assisted them in ensuring that fewer people had issues to do with lifestyle related diseases. We make a comparison with what is happening now. There is less movement. Generally, there is less movement because of technology, because of mobility. We have many people now having personal vehicles. We have public transport that is, the road network has improved, so there's public transport almost throughout. For most people, if they have a car, it would be parked just outside their doors at home, and as they drive to work, it is just parked close to the lift. They get to work, they are sitting almost throughout. So there's really not much activity that is being done. When you look at issues to do with the children's games, now it is digitized. Many people are not engaging their children in activities outside the homes. We have computers, their phones, their TVs, so it is sitting throughout. They are watching, they are playing computer games. So it is very sedentary sort of lifestyle. And this could be the issue that we are having at the moment. Others are registering in the gym. Not a bad idea, but that is a discipline. And how many can? I know most of my friends, this is a resolution every year. And before January ends, they have already started giving excuses. And also because of the economy, it is becoming more expensive to save just to go and do physical activity. And even because of the work that people are doing, they have less time because it is an 8 to 5 job. And there is homework for the children to be done. So parents have less time to do physical activity. Unless we are talking about those who are doing manual work, like those who are the construction workers, or those who are in what we call the informal sort of business areas, like the juakali, where they have to do a little manual work. Maybe we can say those ones. But generally, people are working less or using less physical activity to do anything. Thank you for watching to the end, and I want to welcome you to the next episode where we will be looking at what exactly is physical exercise or physical activity, and how does it contribute to the health and wellness of an individual, and how can this contribute to a reduction of lifestyle-related diseases. Thank you, and see you in the next one.